Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On Point. Today seems to be a very interesting and impactful interview with one of the most prestigious and impactful senators in the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Darius Dillon. Darius Dillon is going to be our guest today, and we're going to discuss everything from his legislative agenda to the state of affairs of the economy, politics, and everything else in between. With me is my co-host, the most brilliant of all that I have ever encountered or debated, even though he doesn't want to admit that, is my colleague and friend and brother, Mr. Tule. Mr. Tule, thank you very much for inviting Honorable Dillon to the show. I think you and he share some pleasantry and have a lot in common, but yet and still, as a journalist or as a fair man, you will behoove yourself to ask those questions that the Liberian people want to know and want to hear and want to have answers. So, welcome to the show, and how are you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing great. It's getting cool up here. Wind enough, but we love it that like that. We wouldn't have it any other way. We wouldn't trade it for anything else. I want to say welcome to all of our viewers out there. Those who take their time every Sunday to spend time with us, and we are so grateful that you have chosen, this spot. We know that a lot of other spots calling your attention, but many of you have found it, very, very. You are loyal, and we appreciate that. Today we're going to have Senator Dillon, and we're going to be just looking at a cross section of things, the things that are germane, things that are pertinent to our national discourse, and it's going to be a nice time. It's going to be a civil conversation, and like you said, we're going to ask very, very honest questions because we need honest answers. So I want to say thank you, to all of those who are with us now and those who are going to join us, and even to Senator Dillon for taking his time to be with us here today. It's going to be a nice time. Oh, he's already here with us. We want to say welcome to Senator Dillon. We are so grateful for you taking this time to be with us, sir. We appreciate you so much. For me, you're my light, and you're the light of thousands of Liberians. You represent change. You represent the hope that change is possible. That we can flip the script. That we cannot things doesn't have to be the way they've been for the past years. That things can be different. That accountability, that honesty can be brought to bear, and all of that. So we want to welcome you, Senator Dillon. Folks out there in our audience out there on social media. I want to say welcome to all of you, and we want to say welcome to Senator Dillon. Senator Dillon, we are so grateful that you could take this time to be with us. We say thank you, sir.
Oh, wow. Thank you again, Josh. Thank you for the invitation. Let me say good afternoon to Jerome in the States. Good day wherever you are following this interaction. Let's get it rolling.
Well, let me pull out some disclaimer here. To our audience, please share the show. We are very, very clear. This is going to be a very respectful and honorable show. We will not entertain any derogatory remarks. We are not going to read out your remarks if you are disrespectful to me, our guests, or anybody out here. This is not a platform for that. This is a platform where the honorable men and women can come and we have an honest discussion. We may disagree, but yet and still we have to be honorable. So we will not allow you to write or say anything derogatory towards Mr. Tule, myself, or our honorable Dillon. Honorable Dillon, welcome here. And I want to put out a disclaimer here that we are all, three of us here belong to one club. Uh, I was born and raised in Grand Bassa County. You were born and raised in Grand Bassa County. This young man became a Grand Bassan by the Liberty Party. So it looks like this is a reunion. This is a big family here, but we're going to do the best we can to make sure that the family team does not interfere with the service that you do for us. So welcome to the show. I think there are certain things that you wanted us to know. We want to know what is that you are doing in the Senate, where we are as far as the economy is concerned, our health care, and those things. And Mr. Tule, I think you wanted to take this lead since this was your guest. I think you should do so at this point.
Yeah, okay. Senator Dillon, like we said, welcome again to focus on Liberia, and this is on point. And we know that you're here, you're on point, and we really bless God for your being here. Now we want to jump straight into this. One of the things that we're aware of is that in our political discourse in Liberia, we've all been shocked and made aware of the different happenings within both the Liberty Party and the CPP. So we'll start off from there. Senator Dillon, do you care to just give us basically an overview of the happenings right now within the CPP and Liberty Party? Liberty Party start. Let's just start with Liberty Party. There are things that happen in Liberty Party. Where are we in terms of who wields the gavel in Liberty Party? Okay, and why are there issues? Why is Liberty Party trending in the in the media, in the limelight? Why are our things, the things of Liberty Party, being litigated in the court of public opinion right now?
Well, thank you. We have a DNA kind in Liberty Party not to be in the public with our internal disagreements. It does not go to say that Liberty Party has never since its founding had internal disagreements. But those disagreements have always been, we have always maturely kept them within, and we resolve them. When Liberty Party is now in the public as it is troubling. Let me lay the foundation here. I am a member of the National Advisory Council. The National Advisory Council of CPP is the highest decision-making body in the absence of the National Assembly that elect or selects ticket for CPP. So until we go to National Assembly, the National Advisory Council is the highest decision-making body of CPP. I am a member of that body. And so I am always very careful to talk about CPP-related issues in the public as a council member, where we make decisions. So I won't talk much about CPP, the nitty-gritty of things. I will speak to some things that are practically already in the public. As for Liberty Party, we have a crisis, and we are not going to shy away from it. I'm not going to go deep in it as well, but the ones that are in the public, sometimes it just needs to be clarified. The public need to know some issues that are not being brought forth as it should be. And so they are getting an impression that it is one way. No, it is not one way. Liberty Party has a constitution, even though with some alterations made, and those alterations will be corrected soon as a result of the Farmington meeting we had, which resulted to an MOU signed by the political leader of the party, the chairman of the party, myself, the National Advisory Council of the party. We went to Farmington, we corrected those issues from the Constitution, and they will soon be submitted to the Elections Commission so that the one that is there already can be withdrawn, and the corrected version as reflected by the Banga Convention that brought the current leadership to being can be submitted in keeping with what the Banga Convention decided. Liberty Party has a political leader, and in keeping with the constitution of the party, the political leader is the leader of the party, the chief representative of the party, the chief spokesperson of the party. When you have your constitution that says the political leader is the covering of the party, the leader of the party, the chief representative of the party, the chief spokesman of the party, then it can go without saying that there is no competition here. There should be no doubt here. Anything short of that comes with motive. And that motive was because of what people did with the Constitution, skewed it before submitting it at Elections Commission so as to absorb powers not assigned unto them by the Bangor Convention. And we are correcting those issues. And when they are corrected, the public will know. And then we'll continue to move on. Do we have internal issues in the party? Yes, we have. Are we going to shy away from them? No. Should we correct them and fix them to get the party vibrant and going? Oh, yes. And we are on our course.
Okay, Mr. Gaiman, you can go ahead and ask a question if you have one right now.
Yes. I want to have the understanding of the suspension. You were suspended by the executive committee according to Wadi Powell and Mr. Musa Ability and everybody else within the executive committee, that you were suspended for behavior unbecoming, and Ms. Wadi Powell said that decision stands. How do you compromise that decision and a letter that came from the political leader, who is the spokesperson but does not run the day-to-day activities or the executive committee's responsibility of the party? How do you reconcile? Are you suspended?
You know, I have never spoken to this nonsense about suspension issue because there were no such suspension. The next time Wadi Power or Musa Ability come on your show, if they will ever come, ask them what constitutes a quorum or a decision-making quorum of the Liberty Party and how are decisions made. So behavior unbecoming is broad, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when was that meeting? When was that meeting? Who all attended the meeting? Who all voted? Where are the minutes? Where are the records? Liberty Party Constitution says when there is an issue with a partisan or an official, that person is forwarded to a grievance and ethics committee. Mm-hmm. When the grievance and ethics committee decide on something, then they send their report to the National Executive Committee, chaired by the chairman of the party. Now, the chairman is supposed to have been the complainant. The the grievance and ethics committee was set up by the chairman. The grievance and ethics committee of 5 persons who voted and said, "Oh yeah, I think this is a case." In keeping with practice and procedure, for instance, at the Supreme Court, I want to be clear. God like to give illustration so people can get the actual picture and message. When you file a writ for a writ of petition before the Supreme Court, before a justice in chambers, when that justice in chamber decide that your petition is weighted enough so that the issuance of the petition for the writ can be ordered, that means that justice has already convinced himself that there is sufficient weight in the complaint that was brought before the petitioner by the petitioner. When that matter goes before the full bench for action, that justice in chamber who issued the writ, the temporary writ, would not vote because that justice had already taken a decision before. If the justice in chamber want to vote or have a say on a matter before the full bench, the justice in chamber will review the petition and send it to the full bench for action. But once you have taken a decision by yourself as a justice in chamber, when it finally lands before the full bench, you don't participate because you have already taken a decision. So I said this to say, when a grievance and ethics committee decide that, oh, there is a complaint with merit, and they say they did investigation and forwarded it to the National Executive Committee, those members of the grievance and ethics committee who voted yes cannot vote on the National Executive Committee to take the decision. Number one. Number two, Liberty Party National Executive Committee comprises of about 31 persons. How many persons went to a meeting to suspend Senator Dillon Order 31. If Musa Belete, as my chairman, can show the public a minute of a meeting where more than a quorum voted to suspend Senator Dillon, I wouldn't honor the suspension because I'm a respecter of the rule of law. I will suspend my membership with Liberty Party in repentance for an act that majority of the members of the National Executive Committee of Liberty Party saw weighted enough to agree to suspend it.
Okay. Senator, real quick.
Yes.
So
right.
What I got here from where it is, there were 18 out of 24 members. If you have 31 members of the executive committee, and you have 24 out of meeting, that's a quorum. And out of the 24, you have 18 out of the 24 voting to suspend you. So are you telling me that you are not suspended?
No, because the information is not true. Let us show you the minutes when 24% attended a meeting in the first place. And let us show you the names of the 18 executive committee members of Liberty Party that said, we agree to suspend Senator Dillon. I will honor the suspension because I'm a respecter of the rule of law. You see, in recent times, when Musa Belete decided that he would be very recalcitrant on law and disrespectful to the political leader, to insist that Mr. Alexander Cummings should have his welcome ceremony at Liberty Party, he put up a press statement and said, the National Executive Committee of Liberty Party have decided, and you in the public unsuspectingly thought it was true. The National Executive Committee, the meeting Musa Belete had was on Zoom. 14 persons attended that meeting. 14 persons can never constitute a quorum to conduct the affairs of Liberty Party in any meeting where the executive committee is more than 30. 14 persons attended that meeting, and on Zoom, 9 voted to say yes, and the rest said no. But suffice it that 14 out of the current structure of the National Executive Committee of Liberty Party cannot be 14. A quorum of that number of 31 cannot be 14. More than 14, more than 16. But when 14 persons get together and you get 9 persons vote cannot reflect the broad base of decision of the party. But you in the public believe that it was the National Executive Committee in majority. Is not true. We have the names. We have the names of all of the 14 persons who attended the meeting. We have the names of all of those who voted yes and all of those who voted no, and all together 14. 14 out of 30 persons cannot constitute the quorum to make a decision for the party. So that was yet another falsehood in the public.
Yeah, okay. Honorable Dillon, the day-to-day running of the party, if you are an executive director, you are CEO, things that facilitate learning of facility and issuing the opportunity to use the facility does not require a formal, unless your constitution or your bylaw spells that out. But I don't think those things require that you have a forum, that you have a quorum, that you have an executive committee to meet to loan out a facility or to accept or extend invitation. But let's go back to the question here. So you are saying here that you are not suspended.
No, there is no such thing. Look, I decided to be quiet. I decided to be quiet on this thing because I don't want to be part of those that bringing my party into the public. Musa and a few handful of people know that it is not that it is impossible to suspend Senator Dillon. I am no extra person. But Musa didn't know that there was no such suspension. I am telling you, ask Musa Belete and a few hundred folks to show you the minutes of any such meeting where you have 24 persons and 18 voted yes to suspend Senator Dillon. I will honor the suspension because Musa Belete is chairman of the party. we have a structure, and the structure is the chairman chairs the National Executive Committee. In keeping with Labour Party constitution, when any measure of suspension or expulsion is to take place, when the processes are hard and the decision is taken by the Executive Committee, before it is effected or implemented, it must be sent to the National Advisory Council of the party for advice. It's like review for advice. Was that done? No. You can't suspend or expel a partisan without the leader of the party being aware. Was the leader of the party informed, either formally or informally? No. So all of the processes leading to a decision of any such nature, whether it is about Dillon or not, was not done. And you expect that holds? No, it doesn't hold.
So okay, one minute, real quick. Honorable Dillon, are you willing, and will you afford us the opportunity were we to invite Mr. Ability or Weddy Powell, who is also one of the members of the executive committee? Will you be willing to come on here to, like we always say, like you say in law, is for you to actually face your accuser. Those who are accusing you, they have the right, and you have the right to face your accuser, okay, to vindicate yourself. Are you willing to face either one of the executive committee members or Mr. Ability when we bring them on here?
No. At my level at Liberty Party, we are trying as much in keeping with our DNA of the party. That'll be all in the public with our issue. Who told Musa know that they suspended? The announced suspension of Senator Dillon or of Dillon as partisan of Liberty Party in his function as vice chair. We went to Farmington 2 weeks thereafter. We went to go review the allegation of uttering with the Constitution. Was I not there? Did I not sign?
What was the condition for your attending? Because from what we gather, you went as a guest of the political leader. You were not invited.
A guest does not sign document. Please go back to the document. It says partisan Dillon as resource person to the political leader. And partisan Waddy Power. Waddy Power is a national treasurer. Why did just say partisan Waddy Power? We went in there as partisans of the party to resolve an internal crisis. A suspended person cannot sign a formal official document of the party on a suspension. So just leave all that political noise that moves that on.
Okay, let's can we make some progress here?
Go ahead.
One of the reasons why you see me, I've been quiet because there's no better person to enumerate these issues and to defend and to state the case than you. I am aware of it, and he's aware that I'm a partisan of the Liberty Party. I do not hide it. Even when I was on radio in Liberia, I did not hide my how you call it, my affinity and my connection to Liberty Party. Like you keep mentioning, it runs in my DNA. So sometimes by the time I open my mouth, I want to be much more quiet and give Jerome more chance before it looks like I'm here defending Liberty, because that's the only. This is a DNA issue. This is not just. It's not just something flippant. This is who we are.
Yeah, Judge. So true. It pains me when Liberty Party issues are so much in the public. Who told you they didn't have fundamental and other political policy issues with Councillor Brodsky? We did. We had those discussions in-house. They were heated. Respectful though, but they were heated. And we said, having had this discussion, when we open the door to go outside, Liberty Party issues remain in. When you have a chairman who is in the public with everything about the party, it's painful. And people say, oh, Dillon, you and Youngbley, everybody, home and abroad, Those who even admire Liberty Party are even dreaming of wanting to be members of the party. Dillon, and you and Yombly, the cause. Anything about Musa Belete, we blame Dillon and Yombly. I thought Musa will understand that his being chairman is because we thought to afford him an opportunity to serve. I was never of the view that Musa is only good to be partisan. Musa is only good to pay his dues, financial and otherwise. Musa is only good to assist the party with resources, and no doubt about that. But Musa cannot be good to be chairman of the party, or even to run to be political leader of the party. The Labour Party constitution says, once you are a member in good standing, in keeping with the party's constitution, you are qualified to contest for any office in the party. So, my mature political nature is not to think that somebody is good as a partisan and to make his contribution as a partisan, but it's not good enough to hold positions in the party. After all, Musa has been partisan of this party since late 2016 when Councillor was alive. Everybody knows Musa's contribution, resource-wise, financial-wise, to the party, even when Councillor was alive. Everybody knows Musa's position that he had even up to the death of Councillor. We went to Lofa, honored the leadership of Councillor Bronsky as political leader of Liberty Party. We revised Liberty Party constitution, created a new layer called National Advisory Council that never existed since the founding of the party. And who did Councillor appoint in a position to have some supervision over the National Executive Committee? It's Musa Belete.
So, but
Okay, let me ask you a question.
But Senator, as important as that is, did he give you 20,000 that he claimed, and why did you call him a BM?
No, you know, it is something I decided that I would not respond to because I think I shocked Musa when I did not say he's a BM. I was making an analogy. I said he's reminding me of behaving like a BM who took dirty money, black money to the bank, and the bank changed it because the bank did not detect it. The bank changed it, that BM, and the bank gained clean money. Now, when you come outside to use your clean money, nobody will give you problem. But if you think it is a habit now, it is a free ride, open road to keep carrying black money to the bank and think that one day you will not get caught, then something must be wrong with you. Now, that analogy was made against the backdrop that notwithstanding all of the things people said about Musa and his FIFA and LFA entanglement, we at Liberty Party ignore those things because, in my view, FIFA politics was different from Liberty Party own policy and vision. So we gave Musa the opportunity. In fact, we had thought that being chairman of Liberty Party would have been the best platform and opportunity for Musa to dispel the rumor and perception against his reputation and character.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
When he decided to use Liberty Party chairmanship to say everything people have been talking about me, suspecting about me, perceiving about me, I'm going to prove them right. Then you're acting like a BM who decided you will continue your trade until you are caught.
Okay, but Senator, one of the things, like whether within the party, in the general populace, people believe that it was one of your instrumentality that Musa became chairman of the party. That is the common perception that is out there. People say, oh, it was because Dillon's approval that Musa became chairman of the party. So I know you spoke in generalities regarding it. Can you be specific about it? Was it you that held Musa's hand and made the party to make him chairman?
No, the party did. The party did, and that is why the party voted Musa on wet ballot, and nobody else contested against him. Even though, admittedly, the chairman then, Steve Zako, was not pleased, and in fact, he initially decided to contest, but when I believe when he started to make his rounds with those that matter to the convention to vote, Musa have been able to convince or persuade, in a way, most of the people who mattered to voting at the convention. And so Steve Zako prudently, wisely withdrew from contesting the chairmanship because majority of the party and those who mattered to the convention to make the decision were resolved to take Musa as chairman of the party. For people to say Dillon is the one who made Musa chairman is to give too much power and influence to me. Sometimes I ask myself what I really have. If I had all that power to make Musa chairman, I will remove Musa today because Musa is reckless, dangerously hating Liberty Party. And I hope he can change. He still has room. I hope he can change.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you mentioned that because it was you who said that uh, when people question you, your support for ability, you said he was once Saul, but now he's Paul. Are you telling me that he already gone back to being Saul again?
You know, when we won the 2020 election, my second election, I was certificated early January. And we were 5 of the 15 senators who were to be certificated first. And I was selected to speak for the 5. At Elections Commission, I spoke officially for the first 5 senators that were certificated early January. At that program, which the video and audio, everything available, I spoke and said, in order for us to change this country, we should give opportunity for Saul to turn to Paul, to change to Paul. There are people, we have a tendency in our country where we think once we are bad, we mean bad. We should give people opportunity to change, especially if they want to change. We should encourage people to change. I made that statement early in January. So it was not a direct reference to Musa as a person. And it was not the first time for me. In fact, at that very program at the National Elections Commission, the chairperson of the Elections Commission and the bishop who closed us in prayer at the program at Elections Commission, elaborate program, well attended, made reference to that statement that it is time for us to allow our souls in this country to change to Paul. And when you have more souls changing to Paul, you get a good country. You get a better country. When you get bad public officials who try to change from Saul to Paul, you get a good country. And I was trying to generate a debate in the country where we can beat people down who, even if we're bad and want to change, then we think it is a wrong thing to do. We refuse to encourage people to change in this country. So I made that reference. The reason I'm giving the backstory is because that Paul, Saul to Paul stuff was not about Musa particularly. It was a general statement that I made. Of course, yes. When Musa became chairman and people started talking about his past, of course, then I repeated the statement. Let's give Saul opportunity to change the Paul. But let me tell you something, Jerome. The Bible says anybody who sin will die. The wages of sin is death. So I believe that all of us have sinned will die. And because Lazarus, the friend of Jesus, sinned and he died. But Jesus resurrected Lazarus. Lazarus died again. Subsequently, so I believe Lazarus sinned again, so he died. So yeah, you can wish Saul would turn to Paul, but if Saul would turn to Paul, Saul is what Saul is. Then Saul gets a punishment.
Okay, Mr. Gimmet, we will take two more questions on the Liberty Party issue because the senator decided, being a member of the National Executive Advisory Council of the CPP, that he would not really go into CPP issues a lot. But I still wanted to ask him one issue about CPP before you. And the issue about CPP is the issue of vision, ideology, and plan for Liberia. It has been missing from the CPP discourse. What we see in the CPP is gesticulations of what we call of infights regarding who will have preeminence, who will take the first place or who will not take the first place, and all of that. Now with the CPP, what is the CPP doing to address this issue where people are saying the CPP has not enumerated or having articulated any plan regarding anything for Liberia?
So I can speak to that because one of the successes of Nyamdi Kanga's leadership over CPP, notwithstanding all of the other issues and noise, is to collate and to have a manifesto, a platform of CPP, a consolidated platform, because all of the individual political parties that came together to form the collaboration already have their individual platforms. So one of the successes under Nnamdi Kanga Lawrence administration or leadership was to collate and consolidate to form one platform on the economy, on all of the sectors and issues that matter to transforming and governing over a country. And the secretariat of the CPP, comprising of the 4 political parties, worked on that document and had to take from each of the political parties' platform to form one document for CPP. And that was successfully done, achieved, and it was submitted as part of the transition over to UP Ambassador Joseph Nima Bwaka's leadership. It was part of the turnover notes and documents that were turned over. So CPP has a platform, and it will be espoused on by especially the current leadership. The platform is especially for the candidates. When CPP has a candidate heading the ticket, and the ticket is not formed, that ticket and the campaign team will now deliberate and present the platform. First, CPP came together as a means of uniting our voices, our resources, where we can have common front on principles and value issues. And because splintered, we know, is not effective. Divided is not effective, but being bounded, holding together, coming together as a unit is more effective, is more impactful. And so, yes, we have a platform, and that platform will soon be made public. And so that when people talk about CPP, while CPP is better than the CDC, we can now start to say these are the reasons, this is our platform, this is our vision, these are our target, these are our long-term, medium-term, long-term goals as to how to govern all the country and make transformation with governance issues.
Okay. Yes. I know when Mr. Cummings was chair of the CPP, he came up with some solid results, including your election, including the elections of many people around the country. Those are tangible things that we can pinpoint, things that we can actually look at and say these were tangible. Under the leadership of Nyobli Kanga, Senator Nyobli Kanga, we have seen nothing but chaos and infight. And you are talking about a document that was written for 8 months that she was in power. Where can we actually get this document? Where can we lay our hand on this document for folks to see that you have a written document that people can actually peruse? And how long, like you say it's coming, we want to know if it's not available, when will it be available so we can look out for it?
Thank you, Jerome. I laid the basis and the premise in the beginning that where I sit at CPP, I'll be careful with some public comments. But I can say this. There was 4 undiluted cooperation with Ellis Cummings leadership over CPP. 4 undiluted cooperation with Ellis Cummings leadership over CPP. There's Joseph Boaka and there's Ellis Cummings. I have made it clear that I'm leaning toward Boaka. I hold no apology toward that. In fact, I'm firmly leaning toward Boaka. But I am also aware that out of 10 other one times, Ellis Cummings is better than George Weah any day. I'm in a collaboration. If the side that I believe in does not win, if Mr. Cummings wins, everything that I am, I will put it behind Mr. Cummings. So I am very careful not to be impulsive, sentimental, and recklessly immature when I'm making comments about CPP and Mr. Cummings especially. As Mr. Cummings, I'm coming.
Yeah, go
Has
ahead.
Mr. Cummings done some things that we can question publicly? Yes. Should I, Darius Dillon, where I sit and stand in CPP, be the one in the public with it? No. Because to do so will hurt CPP. Because I will stand behind Mr. Cummings. I will stand with Mr. Cummings. I will go ahead of him when he wins CPP primaries to become the head of our ticket. I don't want at that time, at my level in Liberia politics and CPP, then somebody remind me, but and you said they 1 year too. No. I have graduated to a level in the body politics of our country, what to say, when to say, and to whom. There is no perfect being. Honorably, of course, there were issues. Who told you there were no issues on comments? But we were mature enough to keep those things in. Who told you every time Mr. Cummings leadership cited meeting of CPP, we had a general 2, 3, 4 days before the meeting? No. But in a collaboration, we are not opposition to ourselves. We can't act like we opposition among ourselves. There are some things that, when you want to straighten system and get things straight, there are some things that don't need public focus agenda. Ask Mr. Cummings and ANC how many times they have meeting and when we receive agenda for meeting. Was it a day or two? Some agenda came on the same day.
Okay,
But
real quick. Go ahead.
honorably, we were able to put CPP platform together. Honorably, when partisans and some ranking members were all at one another's throat, we decided that we'll hold a retreat. That retreat was held at De La Casa. We signed an MOU to be mature and respectful of one another. By the time we came out of there, party officials of some of the parties were all up and running again. You see, the willingness to get something done, the willingness for reconciliation should be by all parties. When one party wants to reconcile, another party doesn't want to reconcile, reconciliation becomes a little tough and difficult. I hope we can see that we are hating this country, disappointing more people by the things we do and the way we conduct CPP, especially in the public.
Okay, real quick. There's a movement being led by your very good friend, Costa, that they are talking about the desolation of the CPP because he sees no way out, and he's taking polls, they're making calls, and there's a groundswell within the CPP from the Joseph Boaka camp that they no longer want to be part of this arrangement. Based on what you just said, that there are some folks that behave like they are opposition, and I know you're talking about Cummings here. They are behaving like opposition.
No.
So what is that? So what is this movement all about the desolation of the CPP?
No, let's be clear. Don't say what I did not say. I'm not afraid to say what I want to say. I said we in CPP should stop acting like we're opposition among ourselves. Competition does not mean that we're opposition from within. I can understand that if Liberty Party was feeding a candidate on her own, probably nobody will be challenging Yomdi Kanga Love. She will be the standard bearer. unless in keeping with our own internal democracy, uh, uh, she wants to open it up. In UP, nobody will challenge Walker. In ANC, they went for a coronation and they coronated Cummings. All these parties already have coronation within their parties. So there's no competition within these parties for who representing who. PLP already have Dr. Cassell. Everybody knows Dr. Cassell is the standard bearer of PLP. I mean, everybody knows George we are standard bearer and head of CDC. No competition within these parties. When four parties come together, and in their coming together, don't already do the selection as the precondition to coming together, and they say they will open it up for democratic competition. We are not used to it. We are not used to it. All ANC people want Cummings. Let me assume so. All UP people want Walker. Yes. Now, it's left to ALP have said they're supporting Walker. Now, for us to allow competition is for us to be mature about it, for us to understand that competition does not mean attacking and being enemies and being opponents to ourselves. Competition is for us to choose the best or the better person of the two. If there are three or more, then we choose the best from them. You understand? So, Costa or any other parties or supporter who is not an official of any of these parties. Look, I don't know why people think that everything somebody says should be blown up. Costa gave his proposal. You dissolve CPP. If nobody responds to him and the leadership does not pick it up, what is the issue? I see some ANC folks, and I'm going to be deliberate about this. I see some of my friends from ANC pitching this nonsense that Dillon is a threat of Costa. No, I'm wise enough to know which battle to fight and which one to let go so that things can flow. Because if I have my eye on a goal, I don't look for distractions. I don't allow things that will not keep my eye there and to achieve it to distract me.
Okay.
Henry Costa, like anybody, has the right and the choice to say, let's hold together or let's dissolve. It is we, the parties, the leadership, that will decide whether we will hold together or not. Any member of the party, any partisan. Okay, so the director of communication to Mr. Cummings, my young friend, my brother, Mobile Youngman, posted a day or two ago that he thinks it's about time for ANC to leave CPP or CPP be dissolved. Should we take that on him? No. People have the right and should enjoy the right to express their opinion, to make their suggestions. Are their suggestions decisions? No. You can't be four parties in coming together and you open the door to competition, everybody equal, and then you think one person has right over the other. I don't subscribe to that. That is why when the UP people think that CPP came together to coordinate and ordain Joseph Walker as president, I don't buy into that. That is why when the ANC people feel the same with Cummings, then I think something is wrong with us. We open the door to competition, and anybody who wants to contest has the right to do so, make his or her case, and when you can certify and convince the electors or the delegates at the primary, then you win. And when you win, even if you were not mature, the fact that we are CPP are under obligation as an institutional person to take you as though you were my original choice. If we all can be mature like that, if we all can see it in this light, if we all can be democratically mature, tolerant, that people have the right to express their views, and once those views are not the views of CPP at the level where CPP makes decisions, then we flow. Costa opened a podcast today and say he doesn't want Cummings, and the whole ANC jump on Costa. Then the whole ANC open podcast and deal with Costa and think that it is okay that he shouldn't respond.
All right. Oh, Senator Dillon, this is focused on Liberia, and this is the show on point. I have my co-host with me, Mr. Jerome Gaiman, and We have our guest today in the light of the Liberian Senate, Senator Darius Dillon. And Senator Dillon, we are so grateful that you're here with us today. But I want us to shift a little bit from the
Before we shift, when I made the analogy of Musa and BM issue, Musa came on the air and said he gave me $20,000. Musa came told the public that he was paying my rent and he gave me a car. And people came, oh, you got to go respond. I said, no. You know, I went to America in June. I flew business class. When the public was rallying sentiment against that, I came and lied. And that lie hurt me, even up to today. But I came back and said, no, what I said that I did not fly business class was not true. I lied. I am sorry. We are not used to doing that in this country where public officials, even if they are caught, can say, yes, I did it. I'm sorry. We used to it. So, and Musa was one of those who took advantage of that slip that I made with my ticket, which admittedly diminished me a bit and for a while. Musa took advantage of that and came. He would say it's not good to lie. He came and told a lie. And people expected me to come in the public debating with Musa and this and that. It's not true. Musa lied. You, George, cannot do it. Though you now live in America, for everybody who knows me, or at least knows where I live, know that I built my house and moved in my house since 2004, before we founded the Liberty Party, before CDC was founded, before Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was elected in 2005. In 2004, I have moved in my own house and I still live in my own house. When Musa said he was paying my rent in 2017, my wife and I were laughing because we wanted to know what people were living when Musa paid our rent in 2017. Is that something I was going to go to public and say, oh, Musa liar, who know I live in my house? No. Musa said he gave me 20,000 US dollars. Now you see, that's half truth. That's half truth. In 2019, my first election, Musa Berete admitted, and for which I am always grateful, like all other persons who supported us, Musa Berete gave us 10,000 US dollars in Liberian dollar conversion, well, equivalent to 10,000. My campaign team knew about it because Wemo Pay was chair of the campaign and Martin Fuller was the coordinator. And Musa also gave 1,500 gallons of petroleum product. I turned everything over to my campaign because I wasn't handling money. Wemo Pay is alive. Martin Fuller, even though he's leaning more toward Musa, but I'm sure he should have some small courage still in him to say the truth. I did not touch a gallon of that fuel. I put it in the hands of the campaign because it was for the campaign. After the campaign, Wilmo Pay and Martin Kula reported to me that there was an overage or leftover of 300 or plus gallons of petroleum product that we did not use during the campaign. And I told them to go utilize it as a means of showing appreciation for the hard work. I did not even touch a gallon in 2019. In 2020, I want Musa show small fear for Allah to say where he gave me money, my campaign, unless he gave it to Martin, and Martin did not tell me, but he did not do so, Musa, in 2020. The contribution that I can recognize, and I have said thank you to Musa for 2020 was when Martin Collins, my chief of staff then, and the head of my campaign had issue with his personal vehicle, Musa lent me a pickup to use. The fact that Martin was using that paper to run around for my campaign, I take it as a contribution to my campaign. And I said thank you to Musa. Musa believes in Allah and with fear of Allah cannot tell himself and anybody that he gave Darius Dillon 20,000 for his campaign. But you see, I allow it to slide because Musa, who said it's not good for me to lie, he went online. I came back to the public and said, look, what I said about my ticket, it was wrong. I should not have hidden the truth. It hurt me. It disappointed my supporters as a human being. I cannot continue to let in good conscience know that I told a lie that even somebody believed and they defend it. So I came back to say sorry. It's something that is not accustomed. We are not accustomed to it, especially with public officials. You can catch people with a video. They will say a doctor. We use to people telling lies, sticking by the lie, and they will defend it. I refuse in good conscience to continue letting know I told a lie that one person believed because he believed in me. I thought I owe that person in my conscience to say no, because if you lie today and people believe it, the tendency for you to keep lying, grooming yourself into lying, is very likely. And that's not my upbringing. It hurt me. It diminished me. I knew that. But I said, it's better to come out with the truth, let it hurt, but let's set it free. So Musa did not give me any 20,000. Look, gentlemen, Musa came to my heart. Musa came. And then when Musa wants something, anything, he read it. When the issue of my vehicle as a senator came out, oh, Dillon said you will not ride a vehicle. Why are you riding it? Musa came and said, let's take the vehicle back and I will give you one vehicle. And I told him no. I told him no. Musa came to my house as a senator and he said, I won't put air conditioning. I said, no, I'm a senator. I will try to afford. Imagine if I had taken this gift from Musa, truly. No, Musa didn't give him 20,000. I challenged his conscience and his God, here Allah. And if Musa shows anything otherwise than what I just explained, then I think I don't even belong in the Senate.
Okay, Mr. Tula, let's go to the next item on the list so the honorable can address some of those issues.
Yes, so that's where, because these issues have been overlooked.
You got where I really wanted to go.
Yeah,
okay,
but
well, you got time. Let's go.
Yeah, the good is if you still want us to continue in this vein, we can go ahead because
you got questions
out there.
I got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of questions
there. To the public, let's discuss.
Okay,
the
so
issue,
yes, the Senate, Liberian Senate. We all call you the light of the Senate, and there are issues emerging out of the Senate today that are very troubling. One is regarding the new bill. And let me just set a premise quickly before you answer this question. I've seen that today, Ghana is still struggling with the economy. All right. The prices of things are so high in Ghana that sometimes it beggars belief. And it's only because in the 90s, they went through a series of printing and changing their banknotes and reevaluating their currency. Now we are here. What is the Liberian Senate doing regarding this changing of banknotes? Because we have time on our hands, we got less than 25 minutes remaining. So that's why I'm not going through all the different things. I just want us to get to the nitty-gritty. What is happening regarding this issue of the banknote, Senator Dillon, if you can give us an overview?
You know, the country, the people as a whole, you in the media, including Jerome here, you took 2 weeks to 1 month to discuss Dillon and ticket. When we raise critical national issues in line with our function, sometimes you hardly talk about it or you gloss away. The things that probably should bring people down is the ones that people cling onto even more. I did not sign the resolution to authorize the printing of money. Few of my colleagues also did not sign the resolution. We did not sign the resolution not because we did not want printing of money. We did not sign the resolution because there were issues that we were raising that needed to be clarified, and things needed to be put into place in order to allow printing of money in line with our function. I've always said, the bucket is leaking. You want to fill the bucket with water, patch the leakage, or change the bucket to a new one. The bucket cannot be leaking, you know it is leaking, and then you want to fill it with water. Something must be wrong with it. Simple illustration of what the central bank decided to do. And majority of the Senate or the legislature thought it was the way to go. When central bank asked Senator Dillon, as a senator, please grant us your authority so we can print new money and replace the old money from the market, then my question is, why? Then the central bank says, because the money not in the bank is not in the bank, and the people are not banking their money because there's no confidence in the banking sector. That's leakage. So my question, few of my colleagues, central bank, if people don't have confidence in the banking sector to bank their money, it doesn't matter whether you owe or new. If you change all the money and no confidence in that sector, if you change it, the people will still keep it to where they have it. So it's not about the oldness or newness of the money. It is the lacking in confidence. What have you done or what are you doing to restore confidence of the people? One of the ways that I believe is if I bank $20 and I wanted $10 of my deposit and you give me $10 and on time, when I have $50, I will run to the bank to deposit it because I know I can get my money anytime. But if I put $10 in the bank and I want $5 and you say you can only give me $2.50 and you delay me before I can get that $2.50, the day I have $20, I will put it under my mattress.
Okay.
As a result of which, no confidence. So what have you done? They could not say, why do you want to change the money? They could not say, what have you done? What's the audit report and the transparency how the $4 billion that you printed and say you infused in the economy, what have you done with it? What's the report? Zero. So what do you want my vote? Until you can put into place the system, you do system audit, you do structural audit, and you put into place this system and you start to restore confidence in the banking sector, I'm not going to allow you to print money. But the legislature run on majority, so majority voted. But in the resolution, copy of which is even available right here where I sit with me, the legislature decided and resolved, and the resolution is law. It is the authority of the legislature. It is the decision and instruction of the legislature to print $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, $500. Remove printing of $1,000 banknote. Don't do it. It is expressly written in the resolution. Don't do it.
Okay, but
because it will cover the
okay, Senator Dillon, and that's great. You have done your own autopsy. Now you know what are the issues with the Liberian economy. As a senator and as a legislator, what bill have you passed to mitigate the confidence of what you are talking about in our banking system?
So central bank has the authority by the act creating central bank and the amended version we just did about a year ago. Central bank has the authority to issue regulation. Central bank has the authority to enforce those regulations. Who should have exchange bureaus? How much people can keep in their homes, out of the bank, and all of those things. So we have already empowered central bank. What central bank is lacking is the enforcement of their own regulation. Number one. Number two, when we issue the joint resolution, I'm saying we now because the decision of the majority becomes institutional decision. We said every step of the way, these are conditions precedent to printing money. Go and conduct system audit so that we can be sure that there's a system in place before you print the money. Show us sample, the security feature, and all of those stuff. None of which has been done. Now, after 6 months, we have now heard from central bank as Senator Dillon made it a plenary issue for debate or a week ago, and that resulted to the plenary taking the decision to invite or cite the technical economic management team that appeared on Thursday and reappearing on Tuesday, day after tomorrow. The central bank, after we raised it, then we found out that the central bank had written a communication on the 4th of October, this October, the 4th, informing the legislature that they have printed 8 billion out of 48 billion, and 4 billion is expected in the country this November for the purpose of infusing that 4 billion for the festive season.
So in essence,
I'm coming, Jerome. I want to say something here, please.
Go ahead.
The instruction was not to infuse money. The instruction was to do a new family of banknotes to remove the legacy banknote, the current one we use. So when you print $8 billion, no bid, that's a violation of the joint resolution. When you come in to infuse it without removing the old money from the market, that's a violation of the joint resolution of the law. So we're raising these issues now so that when they splash in our hands and our faces as a country, you and the public won't be asking why you have been doing that. Our role is to raise this issue. And the only way anything can be binding with force and effect of law under the legislature when majority of us agree.
So basically what you are saying, I was asking, what bill have you passed? Because you have done a complete autopsy here. You've been there 2 years already. Have you passed any bill or introduced any bills to address the issue other than just asking the central bank to enforce what's on the books?
But I just said we just did amendment to the
No, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. Have you written a bill? Have you submitted a bill to remedy some of these issues?
I did not need, Jerome, I did not need to personally write a bill. The fact that an amended version of the Central Bank Act was before us while I'm sitting as senator, my input as though a bill was submitted was made in the amendment of the law to strengthen the central bank with more independence and to have more regulatory power, because central bank is supposed to be autonomous, supposed to be independent. Our role is to strengthen their independence. They are the professional people. They should see the loopholes. They should see the issues that may affect or will challenge them, and then they ask us to intervene by enabling legislation. And all of those things were captured in the amended version of the CBL Act, which was passed into law in the last year or so.
Let's go to the next categories of talking point here.
All right. Yeah. One of the things that is prevalent in our society today is the issue of wayward youths. People call them Zogos. I know fully well that it has been a pet peeve of you. One of your pet projects that you've engaged yourself with from the time you came into the Senate was to, even before you came into the Senate, knowing you. See, that's why sometimes I like for Jerome to ask the questions. All right. I know fully well that you've done. You've done some things with the Zogos. Okay. What are you doing to ensure that this is not just Dillon's pet project, but there's a national consciousness with policy, all right, behind it from the national legislature, both the Senate and the House of Representatives, to address not only because you see the Zogo are an end result. There are contributing factors that are leading to our youth being wayward. One, our drug laws are very weak in Liberia. So as a result, it serves as no deterrence to anybody who wants to engage in drugs. What are you doing to make sure that the drug laws are strengthened in regards, especially in regards to sentencing? What are you doing with regulation? Oversight with the DEA and other regulatory bodies to ensure that they are really manning the country and dealing with the issue of hard drugs coming to the country. Not marijuana, because countries like Canada, where I live, for instance, marijuana is legal. In America, in many states, marijuana is already legal. So we're looking at hard drugs. So what are you doing in terms of policy? Let's look at the place you just the rehab center you just did. Can you tell us about that rehab center? And then in your deliberation, can you address the issue of policy? How can we, because this thing is a national security risk to Liberia.
Thank you. So just on 30 seconds, I needed to conclude on that printing issue. So the central bank has written the legislature informing that they are also printing 1,000 US dollar, Liberian dollar banknotes. They were not instructed to do so. So to do so is a violation of the law, the joint resolution. It was part of the issues that were raised. And two, central bank said they're printing new family banknotes in $100 bill, 8 billion, 4 billion were arrived for the Christmas festive season, and they were infused in the economy. So my question that I want the central bank to answer on Tuesday is, if they gave me $100 of the new note, the new money, and I bought $40 worth of item, what change you will give me in the old money? So it means we're coming to infuse additional money in circulation. There's a very likely potential for hyperinflation. I don't need to be an economist from Harvard to notice. The ordinary people, especially.
But I think you're missing the monetary policy here with the fiscal policy. The infusion of money into the system. It is not. I hope they have learned from it. When you are infusing money, and when you look at the different systems that are being used in Great Britain, United States, and Canada, when we are infusing money into the economy, they do it through the traditional means of bonds and the purchasing power from the central bank to the local banks. They do not physically take the cash and take it on the street like I said we heard they did in the past. And I hope that they have learned from that. That we are not going to take money on the street and say bring in your money and do it. But this time we are going to do it through notes, through what we call bonds, and other things because in Liberia we have a demand on deposit, which is we put the money there, we come and get it out. If the bank does not have enough reserve, to actually give the people the money when they want it, this is what we have. So this time around, we are hoping that what they are going to do is what is done in the West, that the money is not given to the folks in the streets, but is given to the banks, and then they turn that money around through loans and other stuff to develop more money. But that gives them reserve that when Dillon comes today and say, I deposit my money, $50 today, and went right down the street, and somebody, Aaron, call you from Buchanan and say, uncle, nephew, I need a few dollars, and you run right back to the bank, and the bank does not have the money to give you. So to eliminate that, I want to believe this time around, and we are all keeping our eyes open, that the infusion of the money is going to go through the central bank, through the commercial bank, and not on the streets to the, to the folks. So I'm hoping that these are the areas that you will be able to do the oversight.
Thank you for hoping that it happens so. We saw the infusion of $4 billion from December 2019. It didn't happen the way you say it happens in the West, even though the people who are managing and governing over the central bank and the finance ministry, the monetary and the fiscal policy, they got Western education. Some of them boast of having good experience, working experience from the West. When they came here, they took money in the street to Nyafota, to Nukuta, to infuse, to do mop-up exercise. These are the people who learn from the West that you're talking about. We've seen them taking physical cash to Nukuta and to Etan to transact with money exchangers and no accountability of that. We've seen where $4 billion was printed and it ended up in a candidate hand during the election. We've seen it. The candidate did not go to central bank to take it himself. Somebody or group of people from central bank got the money and gave the money all like that. So when you have these experiences and then you see something similarly about to happen, that's reason for red flag. And we are raising this red flag so that you know our raising of the red flag is our function, oversight responsibility. Our oversight responsibility is only effective or even more effective when you have majority saying that even though I'm from the ruling party, this one is wrong. As a lawmaker, let's stand up for it. Or even though I'm from opposition, this one is okay for the country. Let's not stall it or delay it in the name of opposition. So it is not a mixture of monetary and fiscal policy. It is a reminder of the way we've done things that got us here so that we can fix them as condition precedent before withdrawing the legacy money from the market and start to infuse the new family.
Excellent. We will take. Excuse me. Let's take a minute. Let's take a mini break for the senator and I and y'all to get a little drink, and then when we come back, we'll go to comment. Then we'll return to the question.
Yeah, we're running out of time, so we got to wrap it up as soon as possible. So
okay,
let's TPP and Liberty Party instead of the beer national issue. So therefore,
at Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Ja.
Welcome back to Focus on Liberia. On point with me is the Honorable Darius Dillon, Senator from Monserrato County, and my co-host, George Tully. Let's go to some of the comments because we want to make this interactive, and then we'll come back and then do the final, maybe get one or two calls, and then go to the final portion. Do we have comments that the Honorable will be able to address while he's on here? Mr. Tully? You
all
go
right.
ahead.
Amos Songo, Senator Dillon, you admitted to Benedict giving you 10,000 plus 1,500 gallons of gasoline, then a vehicle for your staff to use during the campaign. That's actually more than 20,000. Can't you be humble and acknowledge that? Sad, man.
Honorable Dillon, can you take notes so you can respond to them, or you want to do it one at a time?
Yeah, just briefly.
Okay.
Just briefly. People are coming back so that I can roll.
Can you go back to the previous comment? Thank you.
Thank you. So Benedict said he gave me $20,000 in addition to the fuel. And I'm saying it's not true. But Amos said I should admit, I should be grateful for Musa's lie. He lied, and I'm not going to be grateful for the lie. Just how you were angry with me when I told a lie with my ticket, you should be angry at Musa for lying.
Let's go to the next one.
Alex Davis, Senator, may God bless you. Please push Liberia.
Thank you.
Okay, Emmetal Flomo, did you think about when you took the 30K? I guess not. Did you think about what? That comment is not a complete thought. Did you? We wish he's there again.
Let's go to the next.
What did he think about?
Let's go to the next one.
Let's go to the next one. Steve Sanyan. I would rather believe someone who can come and apologize that he lied than follow thieves that stole our passports and sold them to criminals around the world. Steve Sengen. All right. You know about system before you sell your party to Musa. Right now, Musa is doing finishing in the finishness. Thank God for that. Emmanuel Otis McLean. All right, in the party. Okay, we don't know what finishness is. Anyway, I wish you can write a new comment and tell us. Cutting edge climb. These are the comments I don't like to read. I always say it. What bills have you passed contingent on the economic crisis? Can you just go back again and address the issue, because you made a statement regarding it, and I'm reading a lot of comments. People don't really understand what you said regarding the question Mr. Gamer asked regarding you creating passing or tabling bills to address the economic situation in regard to the money, printing of the new bills.
Well, the thing is, first, one senator can pass law. You can suggest or you can put a bill on the floor. There is no need to put a bill on the floor when you just done an amendment to the Central Bank Act to strengthen the central bank with more independent authority to manage, regulate, and practically control the monetary policy of the country.
All right, let's go ahead. Tipla Popo Pupo. Dillon's job now is to run behind. I won't read that comment.
No,
please.
read it. I saw it. No, let's read it.
Sometimes there's a game man myself. We have a something. We don't like to read comments that are very denigrating and very disrespectful.
No.
Okay,
no,
read it. Dillon's job now is to run behind Yombly. He has forgotten about the people that elected him. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Yombly is the political leader of Liberty Party, and where Liberty Party issues are about, I will be behind Charles Bronson. When I decided to support Ellen in 2011, I was behind Ellen. Yombly is political leader of Liberty Party. Once it is political, it's about party, I will always be behind.
Okay, let's go to the next one quickly.
I know where I can get it. I want to put expressing that side.
It's a connotative meaning that behind that running behind. It's not what you are explaining, but I give it to you.
They will give it to them.
All right, Thomas Awaji, who will benefit from the infusion of the money when the poor people have no money to spend on anything? All right, this is something before we move forward. This is something. The fiscal policy, hyperinflation that you mentioned. Are there any steps the national legislature can take to deal with the issue of hyperinflation? Are there any steps that you can take?
The legislature can do plenty of things when the legislature in majority decide to do. If you, whether it's me or other persons, and not claiming perfection here, we can raise the issues. We can yell at the top of our voice. If the majority decide, either that oversight is not the way to go, nothing. If the majority decide that we stand up for this reason, for this cause, trust me. Now, what can the legislature do? Again, I have said, we did an amendment to the Central Bank Act in less than a year. In fact, close to 8 months, less than a year. We just did. It took us about 3-4 months of public hearing and talking to experts, including opinion from the IMF and the World Bank, for us to do the amendment so it can conform, it can tighten some loopholes to put systems in place. We cannot go to central bank to go implement the law there. We can only ask central bank the law we gave you, what have you done with it, or what are you doing with it to enhance or to make better the economic environment.
Yeah, but Senator,
it can only happen when we decide in majority to be sure that it happens.
Senator Dillon, you are part of the opposition, especially the CPP bloc, and right. the last time we checked, you have a plurality of senators and representatives in the House. The CDC portion, the CDC block of the legislators is very, very small. You are now overwhelmingly in the majority. So what's inhibiting you from having your way? Like we say in the United States, the majority have the way, the majority has some say. You have the majority block. What is inhibiting you from making legislation that will affect and make some changes in the country?
So, Jerome, I can follow your show most times, and sometimes it's good. I think I will be engaged in your show.
Good.
What you just said is completely untrue and start spewing that to the public.
Okay, tell me.
You can't name so the Liberian Senate is supposed to be 30 right now with 29.
Mm-hmm.
Name me 15 CPP senators.
Well, I can name
Mhm.
this. I can name the. I know you are CPP. Nobody can get
Yeah.
CPP. We're talking about the senator from
Cape. I will help you.
Cape.
Hold on, let me help you now. Then you be counting.
Yes.
Okay, that Yombly, that Dillon, that Cape, that Sigwe, that Zago, and who else again?
What's about Togba?
Yeah, but understand
Toba
something.
is independent.
That's
Toba
correct.
is independent.
Okay, so how
And
many
the woman from the new woman
from
what was
Wapolu?
it?
Babolo,
From
Yeah.
Wapolu?
she's independent.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Chairman.
So Jerome, when you
Chairman.
say we are
Sherman is
overwhelming
CDC.
majority,
No, listen. What's about
when you say
Chairman?
we are
He's
overwhelming
CDC.
majority,
Is Chairman CDC?
Yes, he is.
Oh, come on, Dillon. Come
Sherman
on now.
is
Senator Dillon.
Sherman,
Mhm.
Councilor Sherman, Senator Sherman, inform is UP on the board. In substance, you can determine.
Well, I know that I won't go through all
Listen,
that permission and I want to talk to the
Senator Dillon, you're splitting hair here, but let's go ahead. But you have a leader. Yes.
So Jerome, when you give this impression to the public that CPP or opposition overwhelming in majority, it pains. It's not true. We are not more than 10 that I can name. We are not more than 10 that I can name out of 30%.
Okay.
Even among the 10, do you still
Even among the 10,
do the 10 hold together on every issue?
Honorable Dillon, as a leader, your
yes,
job is
Mhm.
the objective of leadership is to make people do and see things your way. Okay?
Correct.
You be
Correct.
the leader of that block. So should we say your initial statement that the Senate full of men and women, spineless men and women, have made your job difficult to lead?
First thing, I am not the leader of the bloc. CPP Senate Caucus bloc is headed by Senator Comini Wisa. I am honored to be the spokesperson of the CPP Senate Legislative Caucus.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes.
Good. So when there is an issue, especially involving the executive, and CPP institutionally issue a statement, say this is how CPP sees it. You can't get more than 9, even if we stood together. Now, we got to be careful also not to think CPP lawmakers are statutes. They are people who shouldn't have independent views of the issues in the legislature, so that sometimes the independent views on issues can inform the way they vote. Everybody, you were hearing John McCain, the late John McCain, when he voted down against Donald Trump's desire or urge or push to undo Obamacare. John McCain is a Republican, and Republicans have always wanted Obamacare repealed. But a Republican, known veteran, venerable Republican, venerable, now vulnerable Republican, voted down against his own party's decision. Now, someone will say that's ideological issues, right? Good. So it's not all the time people in their party will vote their party way. Sometimes it depends on the nature of the issue and the politics surrounding it. But should we have majority in the legislature? Clearly, and we're crying that the ruling party is in charge, then something must be wrong with us. Something must be wrong.
Can we go quickly to the Zogo issue, because you haven't gone there? It seems like we have so much. Let's talk about the Zogo issue because our time is out. And I know we'll bring you back again when you have the time to come and sit with us to talk other issues. We'll just continue from where we stopped the next time, and then maybe just backtrack a little to cover all some bases. But let's look into the Zogo issue. You spearheaded, and I haven't seen it done in our polity before. You spearheaded a public service institution to help and with public health in Liberia. My question here is this: is it up and running now? What's the status of the rehab center? We talk about the issue of professionals. We need mental health care professionals in Liberia. There's an acute shortage of it because I know the reason why I covered that issue before when I was on the radio. All right, so where are we?
So I will ask for another day to speak to this issue.
Okay.
It is an issue that I'm very passionate about, and politics aside. The reason I started to raise the issue about quote-unquote Zogo is because running for the Senate and being a senator elevated my platform. As an ordinary Liberian speaking to issues, it wouldn't carry much attention and weight as compared to when you are a candidate, especially a full-runner candidate, and with the potential to win. And when you win a seat like the one I won, then your voice becomes even bigger, huger, and everybody listen. Even if they're angry, they will still listen. That means your voice carries something. When I picked up this issue about mental health and where disadvantaged or challenged citizens who call Zogos, it was from a good place. I have seen this thing, and I believe that if national focus and national action don't come to bear on the sector of our people, Liberia runs a serious national security risk of existence. Right now, every one Liberian citizen, Jerome and Josh, who is quote-unquote a Zogo, is a minus from the productive sector of our country. Every one citizen who is suffering from drug addiction, substance abuse, mental health issues, where they are no longer productive or any asset to their family or the country, is a manner for one productive citizen who are being in an office or holding a constructive, informative show like this, or preaching in the church or in a mosque, or in the technical professional field, contributing constructively to the growth and development of the country. Every one citizen who is a wayward, drug addict, substance abuser is a menace from the growth of this country. And when we as the country think it is okay for this population to keep growing on our hands, then something must be wrong with us. Then it should become a national cause. And so the friends of Dillon, mothers, and other silent supporters who make contribution toward the construction of the facility, we're always grateful to them. Thank you always. Agree with our message that this is troubling. Let's do it. Let's do it to share the light on this sector so that it can become a national discussion, a national focus, and national action.
Let me ask you a quick question.
The facility has been constructed.
Mm-hmm.
I can say to the public, in the next 2 weeks maximum, the clinic will start to operate. We got a good friend who decided to take charge of the clinic. The clinic will cater to the community. It will also cater to the community. People in the community who are not within the facility as in quote-unquote patient. We want to call our people patient. And so when you enter that place for rehabilitation, detox, and training, you will not be Zogo. We'll call it. Once we have our patient in there, they are not going to pay any fee. For community people who the clinic will be servicing, will be required to pay some reasonable fee to keep the clinic up. But our patients, our citizens who were taken off the street to treat, with mental health issues, drug addiction, substance abuse, won't pay a dime. So
Okay.
the clinic should be ready between now and 2 weeks.
All right, Mr.
Thanks to the friends of Dillon, Minnesota, they continue to furnish the place with other equipment, the beds and other things to get it functional. They continue to be arriving, hopefully this week, the 4th of November.
I just have one quick question, Senator, to go out of time. Was the place built for the county, the country, the city, or who?
It happened to be in Montgomery, Monterey, but trust me, it's about the country.
Okay.
You got quote-unquote Zogo all over the country, almost in every home.
Yeah.
The population is growing every day. These people are families. They are friends, former schoolmates, former workmates.
How big is this? How big? What's the capacity? How big is this facility? How many people?
So we have 11 rooms. We want to do bunk bed. Size of the room will take maximum 4 persons, 1 up, 1 down. 2 beds, 2 bunk beds in a room, and then times 11. We're going to take that in stages. But the professional people who will be running that place, the professional health people who are professional in rehabilitation and mental health issues, will do the program and to determine who comes in, how long they stay, what kind of treatment, all of the stuff. We want to share the light, construct the place, and we that place will be run by people in the professional people in the field. Now, one of the key issues that we want to drop before we leave is, okay, this is like solving or seeing about the symptom. What happened with the real problem, the drug issue, the importation of drugs? Look, the drug law is already here. We made murder a crime and hash. When you kill, you go to jail for life. People still killing. But the law does not necessarily stop the commission of the act. But what it does, it either prevents or alleviates, serve as deterrent on commission of the act. Mm-hmm. When commission of the act becomes prevalent in any society, it says one thing: there's weak enforcement on the law. So the drug law, we want to review the law and say importation of drugs into Liberia, dangerous substance into Liberia is not bailable. Not bailable. When certain quantity, certain volume of drugs caught in your possession, not bailable. Okay? What if smoking marijuana is illegal in Liberia? The guy who will catch in the street, the end user smoking one joint, will grab him, will put it on camera, will say, we're dealing with drug dealers and drug users. When are we going to be harsh on the importers? Because they are more dangerous.
Senator, that question goes to you. You are the lawmaker. We should be asking you,
the lawmaker is not the enforcer of the law.
All right, we are out of time.
The lawmaker, while we take responsibility for lack of oversight, in collectively robust, we should also be careful not to make the lawmaker to go direct traffic because there's traffic there. Our role is to ensure that we are enabling laws that can prevent or serve as deterrent. Who will enforce the law? If the president does not want to enforce sacking, for instance, the DA boss, what can the lawmaker do? Especially when the legislature in majority decide it's okay for the president to do what he wants to do. That's the problem we have.
Senator Dillon, we have to call you back.
Yeah, and I know you would be willing to come back. In 5 minutes, please give us your closing remark. We're going to be calling you back. I know you want to come back to continue this because there was a lot of stuff that you want to discuss. We didn't discuss. There's a lot of questions. There were a lot of calls that were supposed to be made. We didn't have time. So the next time you appear, we'll be able to do this. Can you give us 5 minutes? I mean, at least 2 minutes of your closing.
Yeah, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. All right. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you for the invitation.
And stay after the show. Please stay back because I want to talk to you behind the scene for at least a minute. Okay.
No problem. Thank you, Jerome and Josh. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the invitation. I went a little quiet for good reasons. When you slip down a ladder, it's good to go reflect, recalibrate, and come back better, stronger. So, and we are back. I will function as senator. We will not drop the ball on our people. We have so much to do and so many challenges. As a legislative body, we can only hope. If you look in America today, the Democrats are standing their ground on certain issues, on bodies, infrastructure bill. They are Democrats. They are not just saying, let's just pass it because we are Democrats and the president is a Democrat. No, they are standing on issues. When we start to stand on issues and hold the president accountable or take the executive on policy issues and say,
Jerome, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think it's.
I thought we had a
it's in.
technical glitch just now. So I want to thank you guys for the invitation, and we look forward to a subsequent invitation where we can enhance this discussion.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
folks out there, that has been our show. We know we took a little bit more time today. We should have been done like 25 minutes ago, but unfortunately, we are still here. And that is when you bring. That is why when you bring someone like Senator Dillon, there are many issues that are very, very important to discuss, and we don't have time in one show to discuss it. So the invitation is open, Senator Dillon. When you're ready, just drop me a line. Say, okay, yes, we will be ready for one Sunday. And then we'll arrange it and have you here, Mr. Gimmon. But I just want to say thanks to all those who took their time to be with us. God bless you so much.
And as usual,
Thank you.
we say, no matter where you stand on the issues, whether you are in position, opposition, or just plain independent, we say we all Liberians because whatever the honorable talked about, whether it is healthcare, education, it impacts everybody. Every one of us. So we are all Liberian as usual. We are ending our show. The next time the senator comes by, we'll take calls. We'll be relaxed. You will call. You will have your say so. We ran out of time this time, and we look forward to talking to the senator again pretty soon. And God bless. We end the show.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. I'll be right.